Time to sleep, my darling, close your eyes. Lie down, lie. Listen, darling, to my lullaby. Evening's night. Soon the moon will sail across the sky. Time goes by. Tiny stars will...
Welcome to the sunny state of Florida. Although it is raining today, not so sunny. But this session is about the Academy of Management, where we talked about capitalism in its challenges that leaders face in different countries, and more specifically business leaders as well as political leaders face. In this session we had 16 different authors from many different countries, and these authors are either born in these countries or have done a lot of research in each of these countries. So in the year 2012 we decided that we would do a session dealing with capitalism and the challenges that political and business leaders actually face. So in this session you'll hear from some of the speakers that were recorded. Unfortunately, not all the speakers were recorded, and you're not going to want to listen to 2 hours of presentations. However, we will show you a sample or a few minutes of a few authors, and then hopefully you can catch the rest of it in the actual book, Capitalism and Its Challenges Across Borders. The good news is that you can actually read each author's entire presentation in this book entitled Capitalism and Its Challenges Across Borders. So and read each researcher, each scholar's entire findings in one of these chapters. So there are 16 chapters in this book. I had the privilege of being a guest editor, actually an editor of this book for this distinguished group of scholars. So you can actually read the book and get the entire message of each author about those countries. So 4 different continents in 16 different countries are covered here. However, in the video, we basically highlight a few of the important points in the short time period that we have. First of all, I would like to thank everybody who wrote a chapter for this book, 16 authors. Special thanks go to all of them who started their work in 2012, and we finished it obviously by April of 2013 to be ready for the conference. Second, I would like to thank all the reviewers at the Academy of Management in Orlando, Florida, for accepting our proposal so this material could be presented to the Academy of Management. Third, I would like to thank you for reading this book, and I hope you pass on a copy to your local library so others can benefit from this diversity that's offered in terms of capitalism and the challenges that people face across the world.
Briefs, papers on India, and I started thinking about after we heard the theme capitalism in question during Boston session. I started to think about how we can relate to the management, because this is a management conference. So my thought process was, businesses operate in an economic environment.
It's recording.
And when you're making management decisions, when you're developing tools and techniques to make good management decisions, we need to scan the environment. And one of the environment is economy. And we operate in economy. So the question is, why we need to learn about the economic system and whether it's matter capitalism is in question or not in question. We need to learn about economic environment because we build strategies for the company. And to be successful in implementing a strategy, we need to have a clear understanding of the economic environment. And my focus was looking at specifically, in India. Now, corruption is part of the economic system. A lot of times we say corruption. No, corruption is everywhere. We have corruption in the US, you have corruption in South America, corruption in Asia, corruption is everywhere, corruption in India also. But we need to understand why we have corruption. Not just talk about corruption, not come up with the laws and legislation to, get rid of corruption. We can do. If we understand what is corruption is part of the growth. When you generating growth, hundreds of dollars, billions of dollars, hundreds and millions of dollars, billions of dollars, and only part of the population is sharing that growth. The other part of the population looks at ways to share that growth. And that's where the corruption starts. Corruption starts at the higher level, corruption starts at the lower level. Third world countries, we always complain about corruption. We have corruption here. Well, before the 4 C's of economic system, you need to have culture. If you don't have a culture, you're going to have a problem. We have seen the movie Wall Street, right? Most of you probably. So that shows the our culture of our financial service industry or any other industry. Competition, fair competition. If you're not going to have fair competition, you're going to have problems. Compensation system should be fair also. If the compensation system is not fair, the economic system is not going to work. Corruption is going to be there. So what we need to do is, we need to come up with ways to share growth. If you're not going to share growth, corruption is going to exist. And the culture is going to change. So these are the challenges India is facing. What I'm proposing is new capitalism. New capitalism is not going to focus on growth of just economic growth, social culture growth, political legal growth, technological growth, and personal growth. And we need to redefine capitalism, particularly in the emerging countries or even worldwide. So the new capitalism right here, it's not going to go capitalism just to stay here, but we are going to redefine the capitalism. So capitalism is a process of achieving personal, social, political, technological, and economic growth with fewer constraints and boundaries in order to provide opportunities to everyone in the society to participate in the growth. Now, some people may say that this might sound like a mixed economy approach, socialism approach. No, because sharing growth with everyone is going to benefit everybody in the world.
شهر خالی، جاده خالی، کوچه خالی، خانه خالی، جام خالی، سفره خالی، ساغر و پیمانه خالی.
Most of you have heard quite a bit, obviously, over the last 10, 11 years. But even before that, the last 30 years, when the Russians were in Afghanistan, so we've had all kinds of challenges. Has there been a transition toward capitalism? Of course. I think every economy has somewhat of a mixed economy, but we used to be a socialist country, at least for a short period of time. The history, obviously, is long. People have suffered. Afghanistan is about 30 million people now, so it's not a large country, but fairly small. But nonetheless, they've gone through quite a bit. In terms of where it's located, it's right in the center of China, Turkmenistan, Tajikistan, Iran, and also Pakistan on its borders. So it's really in Central Asia. It's part of South Asia, one of the 7 countries there. The neighboring countries are much larger. Iran has a population of, I believe, 70 or 80 million. Pakistan has 180 million people. And in China, you know, it's 1.2, 1.3 billion people. So Afghanistan is fairly small, obviously, in that neighborhood, but it has gone through quite a bit. And Dr. Bilal Kaifi makes the conclusion that as capitalism has made its way, the disparity between the rich and poor has grown quite dramatically over the last 10 years or so at least. Capitalism, at least the transition toward it in a speedy manner, has caused quite a bit of Machiavellian type of thinking and type of behaviors, where everybody is basically out for themselves and trying to determine how do I fatten up my own pocket versus doing service obviously for the country or even for the region. So this illicit drug, obviously, not only people in Afghanistan are using it, but they are basically being exported throughout the world, including obviously the United States and European countries. If you look at this data that's offered from 1970 to 2007, 2005, you can see that sharp rise. And in 2013 now, unfortunately, the growth is still keeping up with the same trend. So for a small country, as we're moving toward capitalism more and more, obviously the use of illicit drugs and other forms of corruption has been on the rise. And when you look at corruption, bribery, for example, any survey that you see out there, whether the corruption perception index or other studies, is basically been on the rise the same way. So the studies are consistent on this area. So capitalism has made the rich richer, and obviously that's not good because the country becomes more dependent on the foreign aid, and then the international forces obviously cannot leave. So this is the dilemma that we have now between 2013 and 2014.
Thank you very much for being here. Let me start my presentation. Today I'm going to talk about challenging issue of Japanese capitalism. First of all, I'd like to summarize the main point of my presentation. First, Japanese capitalism is basically community-oriented rather than market-oriented. Second, however, Japanese capitalism becomes more market-oriented because of the pressure of global competition. Third, this trend causes not only negative impact but also positive impact on Japanese capitalism. This is the outline of the presentation. I divide 5 parts. This table shows that each interaction form is related to the form of organization, forms, and coordination. So, as you can imagine, reciprocity and distribution still strongly worked in our society. For example, you have a give and take relationship in your colleagues. So this is still reciprocity working in our society, right? And redistribution. Some people are loyal to a company or peers or supervisors. In our society, all three forms are mixed. So, capitalism, this interaction form is dominant. But still, this two interaction form is working. So, these three interaction form combined in each society and culture. Hosted discuss Japan is collective oriented. Or Paul argues that Japan is a high context culture. Or Nakane, and we have a joint project with Dean. We discuss about Japanese has a very strong, stable relationship and they deepen mutual understanding. Often discuss the nature of Japanese organization, creating cohesion among group members, stressing loyalty to the organization, building a delicate and intricate ranking system, developing informal organizational network, or socializing members by long and stable relationship. And these all nature produce Japanese management practices, such as lifetime employment, consensus decision making, collective responsibilities, through evaluation and promotion, implicit formal, informal control, non-specialized career paths, or holistic constants. And this is the conclusion. So each type of capital is forming its economic and social cultural environment. Its advantages and disadvantages depend on changing the environment. So it is not easy to determine which model of capitalism is favorable, both because success depends on each environment, and because the environment always changes. Therefore, balancing economic and social cultural factors is important for each culture to build its own capitalism. Thank you for your attention. That's all.
I'm not sure how many of you have heard about Vietnam. Yeah, Vietnam. Right. A lot of people in America, particularly when we talk about Vietnam, they talk about the war. That's the only thing they know. It's sad, but it is true. But Vietnam had changed so much since the war. The war ended in 1975, even before I was born. So it's been 38 years. Vietnam has been growing so fast, and I have a chance to talk about. I was born in Vietnam and just been here for about 10 years. So I experienced firsthand, the change in the economic system, as well as the corruption issues. Vietnam, the official name is Social Republic of Vietnam, and one of the 10 Southeast Asian countries in that area. Population was around 90 million. Majority of them, resides in the big cities like Ho Chi Minh, Hanoi, Hai Phong, the big cities. Official language Vietnamese, but English has become, popular language there. If you can speak English, you can go there and people can talk to you. And government is a communist state. I think one of the few countries that have the communisms. I mainly will kind of touch the milestone or a turning point in terms of the economic system of Vietnam, and that translates into corruptions. One of the big changes in our economic system is the Đổi mới policy, which is renovations. In 1986, the government decided to shift the economy from centrally planned to more market economy with a socialist orientations. By adopting these policies, they create a more multi-sectors economy. Instead of just one sector, state-owned enterprises controlling the economies, now we have multi-sectors. There are a lot of privatizations they talked about earlier in Vietnam at that time. And of course, by doing this, and then the governments kind of integrated the economies, opened their market more, to the world. And we see a large amount of direct investment from foreign, companies, foreign countries, pouring into Vietnam, and the business environment has improved dramatically after that, 1986. Another turning point in the economic system in Vietnam is the U.S.-Vietnam bilateral trade agreement. The embargo was lifted in February 1994, and a year after that, the diplomatic relation is reestablished. And former President Bill Clinton actually was the one who started all of this. You can look at the charts here, you see the trade volumes, since we just reestablished that relationship and until 2011, is increased about 50 times. Now it's about 21,000 millions in terms of trade volume. And you can see a lot of import in this year. Another turning point in the economic system in Vietnam is when Vietnam became a WTO member in 2007. Now, by being a member of WTO, Vietnam expanded its market to other WTO members. It's created a lot of opportunities, for local companies, also for foreign companies that want to invest in Vietnam. It's, enhanced the nation's prestige, right, in the international arena. Now people know a lot more about Vietnam than before. And Vietnam became a strategic partner not only in South Asia, but also in the world in terms of trade, in terms of, political forces there. Vietnam has been recognized as one of the fastest growing and promising economies in Asia, with an average GDP growth of 7.6% between 2000 and 2009.
شهر خالی، جاده خالی، کوچه خالی، خانه خالی، جام خالی، سفره خالی، ساغر و پیمانه خالی. کوچ کرده دسته دسته آشنایان اندلیبا، با خالی، باغچه خالی، شاخه خالی، لانه خالی. وای از دنیا که یار از یار میترسه، غنچه های تشنه از گلزار میترسد عاشق از آوازه دیدار میترسد پنجه خمیاگران از دار میترسد شه سوار از جاده هموار میترسد این طبیب از دیدنی بیمار میترسد ساعتها بشکست و دردی شاعران ازت گذشت سالهای انتظاری بر من و تو برگذشت آشنا ناآشنا شد تا بلی گفتم بلا شد گریه کردم ناله کردم حلقه بر هر در زدم سنگی کلبه‌ای ویرانه را بر سر زدم آب از آبی نجنبید خفته در خوابی نجنبید شهر خالی جاده خالی کوچه خالی خانه خالی جام خالی سفره خالی ساغر و پیمانه خالی وای از دنیا که یار از یار میترسد غنچه های تشنه از گلزار میترسد عاشق از آوازه دیدار میترسد پنجه خمیاگران از دار میترسد شه سوار از جاده هموار میترسد این طبیب از دیدنی بیمار میترسد چشمه ها خشکید و دریا خستگی را دم گیرید آسمان افسانه ای ما را به دستی کم گیرید جام ها جوشی ندارد عشق آغوشی ندارد بر من و بر ناله هایم هیچ کس گوشی ندارد شهر خالی جاده خالی کوچه خالی خانه خالی جام خالی سفره خالی ساغر و پیمانه خالی کوچ کرده دست دست آشنایان اندلی با خالی باغچه خالی شاخه خالی لانه خالی بازا تا کاروانی رفته بازاید بازا تا دل برانی ناز نازاید